that 909 number. And he's feeling really calm. He's in a good place. He's liking the Sunoco. He's liking the livery. He's loving the goods. You know, he is flying an RB flag. He loves it. He's dying on the cross of that RB, and he loves it. But he's going against James Dean. He's got the bubble window. He's feeling the flow. James Machine Dean, your defending Formula Gym champion, throws it into that first outside zone. Touch that one. I said, just kissing it. James Dean, look at Ryan Litteral. He is right there, tucked in. He knows. Talking about that 100-point run. That's what James Dean. Oh, a straightening, a correction. Was there contact? We will run it back. That was very unlike James Dean. So we'll take a look at that. Going from the outside zone 3 into that inside clip. That was very interesting. So was there contact, Jacob?
Yeah, we're going to see it here in a second, but James Dean out front looking really good. This is what we talked about with allowing for a really good chase to happen behind you. James Dean spends a lot of time with the car at angle, very, very stable, and this is the point we want to look for. It does look like Ryan Litteral did impede the transition of James Dean there, which really sucks because Litteral was on it. He was in there. He was right inside, you know, the pocket, as we call it, that kind of space behind the front wheel. That's where we want the driver to be. And look at Ryan Litteral. Great dive there to get into the pocket for outside zone 3 and just holding it really steady and just doesn't get back in time. That's all it is. And we're talking like a 1/10 of a second to touch the brakes, pull the car back, let the car transition. It's so tough.
You got to think he knows what to do, right? Yeah. And he knows who he's going against, and that is a 100% trust fall. You know, you cross your arms, you're like, James, catch me. Again, he's a champion. He is a weapon. He is so comfortable in this car. When he came out on Media Day on Tuesday, he didn't even skip a beat. I mean, this dude, James, is driving more than anybody else, I feel like. Again, if we talk seat time, I think he's top. Yeah. So, here we go. Ryan Litteral's out front. That contact, he disrupted James Dean. He was in that hot pocket, got a little burn, though. Here we go. They let it cool. Ryan Litteral gets out. He taps it. Using all the course. James Dean, unfortunately, he didn't get to that second outside zone. There goes James Dean. Now he's in the pocket. That's alternate position. Litteral goes for it on that inside clip. Really good execution. What a way to start Formula Drift 2025 season. This is just a sweet morsel of what we're going to expect this season. This very well could be, I'm going to go on record, this very well could be the most competitive Formula Drift season we've ever seen, given the driving, the cars, the progression, all of it, and it begins here.
Yeah, this is incredible. I mean, flowers to Ryan Litteral in that lead. Like, everything looks really good, and same thing allows James Dean to have a good chase. James actually made a bit of a flub there, coming in a 1 into 2, a little bit shallow, and then he gets back in, but you can see him kind of hunting back and forth to really find his spot, but gets things checked up here and does a really good job. Ryan Litteral, I mean, at a bit of a disadvantage impeding that, but Ryan Litteral is back. Like, this says to me, once he got all the mechanical gremlins out of the way, once he got things dialed, this is the type of driving that we saw from him when he went through Pro 2 and really made a big name for himself. It was this type of driving, very stable, very fluid and flowy, and I'm really happy to see that in the way he's driving. It sucks to have that small incident, because if it wasn't for that, this is a pretty tight battle. I do think that's going to be the difference maker, unless there's something that the judges are seeing that we've missed.
And we're going to get some insight from them. It looks like we have a verdict. Slide him left for James Dean, right for Ryan Litteral. And I think that small little hiccup and that error of lift, it's risen to temp.
Yeah.
So this is where ideally it's going to stay a majority of the day, because we finished before the sun sets. Here we go. Shanahan and D-Mats, Derek Madison. Shanahan in that Red Bull 86 going across. Derek Madison, he grips up and goes that first outside zone. Shanahan does get out there. Madison comes up a bit short. Shanahan puts the car right where it needs to be. The Irish pilot is navigating it properly. Derek Madison having a little bit of trouble there. He grips up and shoots in on the inside. You can see him fighting the wheel. He counters and wraps around the inside clip. Talking to his spotter, he had something that was, I think it was like, boost of valve was staying open.
Yeah.
So basically the car previous to today, not the same car. So he has to relearn, get comfortable, get his binky, and just get comfortable with it. Get his blanket, right? His safety blanket.
So let's see here. The biggest thing we want to look for is, with that kind of wonky chase we saw from Derek Madison, did Connor Shanahan do anything to affect the chase back there? You see a little bit of a left foot brake as he goes into 3 and a bit of a correction, but Derek Madison did have to take some time to catch up. Then through this transition, everything looks pretty good, but I mean, Connor Shanahan decelled in the correct spot, held everything fluidly, and was able to run the line correctly, at least from what I'm seeing right here. You can see Derek kind of fighting back and forth through the wheel. We talked a little bit about those white gloves, the truth gloves, coming out yesterday. But it looked like everything from the lead side of things was all good to go as we see the hood being buttoned up. I didn't see what they were working on. It looked like even...
I saw like a wrench go to, it looked like just a cone filter.
It could have been, yeah.
It was just something as minuscule as that, and that's why I would say it's not the $5,000 part, it's a 50-cent part.
Well,
You're
even
like,
Derek Madison's like that little valve, I was looking at it last night, it's like a $15 part.
So silly.
But yeah, it would cause him to essentially all boost as soon as he came off.
Right. All right, here we go. Now D-Mad's out front. So the confidence is going to be higher, I believe, out front because, you know, he has Connor's rearview mirrors, but he's got to run his own game, run the 100-point line. He does get out there. There he goes, under the bridge, comes up in short. And that allows Shanahan to really get close to him. Now navigating through, Shanahan living in the shadows, lurking in the shadows. Ooh, it straightens out a little bit, but does that offset where D-Mads wasn't essentially on that first run? So lead versus lead, chase versus chase, overall dynamicism, little fist pump there from D-Mads. Don't know if that was like, yo, I brought it, where you at? We'll see.
I think he's just happy to be out here and driving at the caliber that he knows he can be, although there's some improvement that needs to be made here from Derek Madison. Good to see. Really good job going into the first outside zone. Second outside zone, you can hear it and see it with the smoke. He's on and off throttle. He's having to kind of hunt with the car to be able to get to where he needs to go. Diesel's a little bit early too, just before that touch and go, and then grips up and kind of floats out. So the lead wasn't super smooth, and smooth is really what we're looking for, and what allows for a good chase is a smooth run. Makes it predictable, makes it easy to follow, and Derek, you can hear it, you can see it with the smoke. On and off throttle between 2 and 3, and that's such a vital part when it comes to this track. If you hold 3 for a long time, it sets you up really well for that touch and go. If you cut it a bit short, you're going to beeline, and the rest of the run's going to be thrown out. So the two main parts of this track are going to be initiation and outside zone 3.
All right, slide him left for Connor Shanahan, right for Derek Madison, and Connor Shanahan gets the win on the debut of the car.
Goes, yeah.
All right, and what do you make of this car? This one series here. This car, you know, we saw Magmumi, you know, kind of fight the car. We'll see if it's styled now. Here we go. Trent Beechum out front. He assigns that front bumper, and ideally the car is running up to snuff. That ESR, BMW gets all the way out there. And look at that car. Oh, RCP shuts it down. That was, again, Rome. Oh, man, Rome. This is what I was just talking about. Fighting this one series.
Yeah.
The car is just gripping up. It's not tank slapping. It is just gripping. So you got to wonder what is going on with RCP in the chase position. I'd have to assume he's got to call a comp timeout to see what's cooking.
Yeah, something seemed really strange, like he was missing the vast majority of his horsepower there. The initiation from Beechum was a little wonky. So at first I was like, okay, Rome saw how weird it was, maybe thought, okay, something's going on there, I'm not going to be able to go, but we're seeing Rome flipping around now. That says to me there is some sort of mechanical going on. Let's take a look here. Beechum gets into initiation, big e-brake, on throttle, another almost re-initiation. He doesn't, it's not like he zeroed out or incompleted, but the car did settle. And this is a new rule that has more or less...
That royal purple BMW, Dmitry Brutskiy, he was thrashing on his car, and fortunately he's got that sponsor there, his title sponsor. It is a collision center, so it's great to see him being supported by Bold Cars Collision. Check out refund code with Dmitry, his first name. There we go. Dylan Hughes, the dozer. He's going to be trying to plow his way into the 16, and Dmitry looks like... So you got to think, the car, they're thrashing to get it together. Was it aligned? Is it straight? Is it good? Where is it at? Was there contact there? We'll run it back and take a look. But Dmitry Brutskiy in that BMW. Didn't look like Dylan impeded. Looked like he was initiating. What are your thoughts there as the white Ford stars go round?
Yeah, it looked, from the first shot, it looked like Brutskiy was just coming in with a lot of pace and overshot it. So let's see here. Dylan looks good. So what the judge are going to be looking at now is, should Dylan have been back on power? Was he at the point where he should be pushing the car forward? And that's what Dmitry was looking for. So let's take a look. We're going to have our 3-2-1 cone. 3, 2, 1, and then he is on throttle. So it does look like Dylan was on throttle, and Dmitry just kind of got a little overzealous, really wanted to keep the tandem tight. The other part too is, like, they're going to align that car. His intercooler has cracked, so he's getting no boost, so they just said they're going to crank the nitrous and send it. So those are the words. Those are the words that I got. We're gonna crank the nitrous extended. So
I feel like this is Aerosmith needs to play right now in the planet. You know, like Armageddon. Here we go. The garage. This stick BMW. Okay. All nitrous, no brakes, baby. Look at RCP going for it. Hey, you don't need no stinking intercooler. He throws it down. Trent Beechum. He's waiting in the wings. A correction there from Beechum. He straightens out. Beechum straightens out. He brings it around that final clip. But again, lead versus lead, chase versus chase. What's going on here? The fans are out. Literally, it's fans on fans. I heard you like fans. Let's take a look, Rod Chong, as we can see, pulling over to the side. Dude, we don't need no stinking intercoolers. Just all nitrous, no brakes.
I mean, it's horsepower in a bottle, man. Like, there's definitely a benefit to having multiple power adders, that when one goes out, you just crank the other one. But, I mean, it's a bold move, Cotton, as they say. So let's see.
You can dodge a BMW. You can dodge a ball.
Yeah, I mean, Rome looks really good. There's a couple of clutch kicks that he had to do to get in there. But right here in the transition, Beechum just loses it. And it looks like he's lost power or had some sort of drivetrain issue, because he essentially shuts it down. So I think what they're going to look at right now is going to be whatever they made of the lead at that point, because that's what we got left. So both leads at this point look pretty comparable. I'm just trying to look for any of those differences. I mean, I would almost say Rome's touch and go looked a little bit better. Outside of that, things are fairly comparable, and that's, I know we talk about the lead versus lead, chase versus chase. I mean, a lot of it's going to be the culmination of your runs, but when both chase drivers get a 0 because of what seems to be mechanical faults, all that's left to talk about is going to be those leads. And looking at those, I mean, pretty tight margin between them. One spot where I did see that Rome's touch and go was a little bit better, but Beechum did do a slightly better job on outside zone 1 and 2, probably because he had horsepower, whereas Rome was fighting to get anything he could.
Riddle me this. Do you think that Trent would just unanimously get the win if he didn't straighten out on that last clip?
More than likely, yeah, because he was able to complete the chase. So if we're adding everything together.
That's kind of my sentiment, because I saw, admittedly, you know, body language says a lot of things, right? Both you, me, and the judges. I saw the judges go kind of aghast. They just like, oh, like, what went wrong here for Trent? He straightens out.
Yeah.
But you got to think that RCP straightened out quite a bit. So, hey, there it is. Father and son coming all the way from Seattle from the BMW.
Yeah.
We've seen the Mohawked young one. He's a grown man now. He bought his dad tickets for Christmas and his birthday to come down here. Beechum does get the win. He does. Brutskiy, Dylan Hughes, they had some contact there. And I don't know, we haven't got clarification yet if who was at fault on that first run with Dylan Hughes up front. But here goes Dimitri Brutskiy in that BMW. He gets tied to the wall. Look at this. Looks like he's got a little bit of time. I believe he called the competition timeout. Dylan Hughes taking a shallower line, but this might be strategy-wise. It's not necessarily an inactive chase, but I think this is a smart way to play it, given that, you know, I would say that at first glance, speculation-wise, again, haven't talked to the judges, and you said it as well, seemed that Brutskiy got aggressive. Dylan didn't impede on Brutskiy's initiation.
Yeah,
but, I would look at Brutskiy at a deficit.
Agreed. I don't think Brutskiy's alignment is quite where he wants it to be. You can see him fighting the car. You can see the front wheel making those adjustments there. Pretty good job through inside zone 1. And then the transition was a little bit strange. You see how much left foot braking he's got to put in just to get the car to push out to outside zone 3. I will say he did a really good job of fighting this car all the way through it, but it's pretty clear to me that he was fighting it. When you get into a wreck like that, you know, you can align it to the best of your ability with the plates and the technology we have now, but you don't know if there's subframe damage, you don't know if there's like, you know, even the body of the car starts shifting, everything,
and there it is. Again, a Formula Drift Pro rookie, by no means a rookie in drifting. This is, I anticipate this being a really good battle. Austin pretty much has nothing to lose. Hero, he's got, you know, rookie of the year last year, and look at that, goes right out there. You see that wing just get flexed a little bit, but Austin Matta, he is right there. Hero, wall to wall, 15 years old. This is a kid of the past, the present, the future, baby. He is, oh my gosh. Like, Hero is just Again, 15 years old. How old? I mean,
I wasn't doing
freshman?
this. Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, so the one thing I noticed in there, the initiation from Minowa is a little bit strange, just the way that the car almost jacked over. And then the rest of the run looks really good, although we do see the left foot brake there to get him out to the outside zone 3. But, Matta's doing really good here. I mean,
right? It's like
good, yeah.
I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, which is really tough for us. I mean, it's a bit of a detriment in our regard, but really great battle here in the top 32. Matta, as you said, he's been around for a hot minute. I'm not calling him old, but he is experienced. And really, Minowa is just continuing on what we saw before and doing it faster. One of the biggest critiques of Minowa is just his driving speed. That seems corrected, at least from that one run. That was a quick run. There was no big holdups. He wasn't checking anybody up. He was full throttle through that. We did see some corrections to get out to 3. We are seeing that a lot, but I didn't see him choke anything up. The initiation was a little strange, just the way the car moved over, but that may just be a setup thing that they've got going on.
Nerves as well. You got to think that comes into play. But I'll tell you, I think that was exemplary of a good lead run. Was it 100? No, but it was really good, and it gave Matta the platform to have a good aggressive chase run. He tapped the walls, but not aggressively. It didn't disrupt the car's attitude. You saw the body flex. Like if you roll the tape back, Daigo Saito yesterday, hard into the wall. He pushed that back 86 bumper up to the wheel. It disrupted the car. Hero, he gave a little 15-year-old smooch right there. All right, here we go. Austin is going to lead. Welcome to Formula Jet Pro. I have high hopes for Austin. Love his energy, good vibes. It's very different going from 4 rounds to 8 rounds. It's about nutrition, both mechanical and mental. Here we go. Austin out front. Let's see what this weapon brings here to this against his 15-year-old Njuku racing pilot. Look at Hero tucks into the hot pocket. Austin comes up a little bit short here. He's going to dig deep. Whoa! Look at that correction. You saw Austin and Hero did just the same. Now coming to that tight clip. Brings it around, well done. And that's, we saw, look at Hero showing a veteran-esque move where he crosses the finish line and says, hey, I got more. You saw that little kind of flex, a little fist bump or a door tap across that finish line. Yeah, so Matta gets onto it right away. Shallower initiation, takes him a little bit to really get to angle and light the tires off. And Minowa does a good job of adapting to it. This is what we talked about in the chase, like how he's able to mirror it and then slowly bring in that proximity. And then as they transition out, same thing. Minowa does a good job. You could add a little bit more angle through there, but that's what the judges are looking for. They'd rather them be back just a touch, mirror everything out to the best of their ability, and then bring the proximity in. But man, Austin Matta looking really, really confident. There's not many rookies that can come out here that have never driven this course before and lay down a run like that. It is an incredibly difficult course to run. There's so many different pavements that we've got here. The traction is different all the way through the course. The traction changes depending on the weather. And I very, very high hopes for Matta. Very, very high hopes for Minowa. It just sucks that one of them's going to have to go home. This is an unfortunate circumstance, but that's how it is. That's how the cookie crumbles. And Hiro Minowa, Njuku Racing, Jerry.
Pretty good, and I lost my power steering, so there's no possible way to do this track without power steering. So as I stopped and straightened it up and collected it, the power steering came back. But it was just one of those things. I was like, I didn't want to stop at all, but I was like, I'm going to crash us both. So hats off to Brutskiy. He's a good dude, and just stoked to be moving on, though.
Dylan, thanks.
Chris Forsberg, Dylan, Dan Burkett. Thank you, Dylan. There's that first run as we are talking to Dozer over that run. We'll take a look at it once again here, but Chris the Force Forsberg, that NOS Energy Drink, all new Zeke, picked up that Neff vodka on the roof. Yeah, I mean, Forsberg back to his ways, really liking the way he's driving, debuting a new tire for him, making the jump over to Kumo. So there's a lot that's got to be learned, a lot that's going to be different for him, but car looks good. Nice little tap there into outside zone 3, and then gets that decel. Now Rad Dan in the chase looking really good, really confident. Probably one of the best chase runs I've seen out of Rad Dan in a long time. The confidence is back. The changes that he's made look really, really good, and I'm happy to see Rad Dan driving with that kind of confidence. Good job getting in here in the third outside zone. I mean, Rad Dan, he kind of had this peak a while ago, and then it looked like he was trying to develop some things. Now I'm starting to see that confidence coming back again.
Touch wood, had no problems so far. Everything's been running great. I've built a good team, and we're here for one reason, and that's for gold. So I hope that's the plan towards the end of the year.
And we'll see him do battle against Dylan Hughes in top 16.
And here we go, Dan Burkett gets all the way out to that wall. Chris the Force Forsberg in that chase position. Rad Dan is getting Rad out front in the Mark IV Supra, but I have to consider he does have to make up some ground or some points here as far as the verdict. Forsberg, he's back there. Not as tight as we'd like, but again, this is strategy. You got to think, you know, I think I'd love to see a side-by-side, and yes, the judges are asking for it. The BC Racing Go for Gold side-by-side, taking a look. Dan out front in that chase position, Forsberg out front on that first run. Take a look.
Yeah, like, love the speed that we're seeing out of this Supra. I mean, such an iconic chassis, and Rad Dan getting everything wrangled in here. Look how smooth he is in that lead run. Late on that transition to the touch and go. That is what the judges are looking for. Kind of want to point at it, swing the back car around, while Chris Forsberg in the chase looks really good, looks sturdy and confident, and just driving with more aggression as we swap over to side by side
here, because you know we had some great interviews there. But take a look on the left, Forsberg out front. You see him gets that outside zone transition. Dan is back there quite a bit. By comparison to Chris in the chase, into that third outside zone. You see Chris, you talk about composure. You know, you can see how dialed the car is. Dan Burkett looked like he was like, oh, I got to still get, and he took out that inside clip. That is a telltale sign that he was like, oh, I got to gain some ground here. And it was just a little too late switching it up. What were your thoughts on with Dan out front and Chris in the chase?
Yeah, I
or
think
both.
Yeah, I really think that Dan's lead was phenomenal, and it did allow Chris to have a really good chase. But I thought that Dan did a good job of catching back up when he lost a bit of ground. And we got one more time. Oh.
Here, and Adam LZ in a BMW that is definitely treating him right. You know, we saw him last year. He was going to bounce around, go international. He's focused on FD this year. He's not going international. He's focused on LZ World Tour, which is a great compliment to all the content creators and drivers out there. Really cool event, but he is focused on FD and the Drift HQ BMW. He's out front. Let's see what he does against TLO. Tommy Lemaire, a Formula Drift Pro rookie. Woo, look at that. Great transition under the bridge. Adam LZ. Oh, he cuts up a little bit short of outside zone 3, but very aggressive out of the gate. And TLO in the garage-istic. BMW taps Adam, but he keeps on keeping on around that inside clip.
Yeah, a really, really aggressive run there from Adam, who had a couple of little hits there on media day, and I'm coming back from it, but it's good to see that those incidents didn't create any fear in Adam's driving, as we see him push really fast and wide into the first outside zone. That tap second outside zone looks pretty good, but then a bit shallow into 3. You can see the wheel correction there, as Tommy doing a good job to keep in the race, but Adam overshooting that inside clip and having to V out the last zone in order to make it across the finish line without getting into the wall. You can see Adam just touching those rumble strips. The judges are pretty hard on judging that. They really don't want you using that space, but that added speed and that line that happens when you do that does start to affect later on in the run, and that's what we saw with a bit of a shallow outside zone 3. And then we see Tommy making a bit of contact there with Adam into the end. And we're here. It looks like
yeah, so taking a look here at Tommy Lemaire, that back end looks like our starter, Matt Sopa. Yeah, he's going to pop off that trunk. Yeah, that you got to think, you know, we have a rule, hood, hatch, doors, anything, you know, latchable. If it comes unlatched, that's going to be a problem. There's Forsberg and his team looking at the car, wondering what is going on, inspecting it, but Forsberg, a little bit of confidence there. We'll see. He's got some time during halftime, and then go 16. Looks like we're ready to go. So it is Tommy Lemaire. Yeah, he's going for it. So all right, so garage-istic BMW. Somebody mentioned D-beating. I don't know. I didn't see it, but here we go. So Tommy Lemaire all the way outside zone 3. He slaps that back rear quarter. Adam OZ keeps pace. He's got the Neft vodka on the roof, the heat wave flowing. He bangs door. He says, all right, cool. You give it to me, I'm going to give it to you, like a mosh pit here. Looking like he's at getting a little emo concert there. He's slapping the roof there, TLO. Little kind, like, thank you for putting me where I'm at, old Sally.
Yeah, so I mean,
was there a DB?
We heard talks about it. I mean, it might have just been the camera angle, but it almost looked like Tommy was DB'd. But I mean, he's on it. He's getting the speed. He's making the run. Adam in the chase, though, super aggressive, coming at it too. Kind of slingshotted the car over. Now we see a big correction there from Tommy Lemaire before he goes into the touch and go, and Adam gets back around. I think Yeah, I'm still trying to see if there was a DB. I don't think they would have let him off the line like that.
No, they would
Soap
not.
is pretty good. I
Yep.
think he'd catch that, but he's looking at it. He's like, oh, man, that repair bill. Tommy's got to pay for a couple of repairs. So we go over to the BC Racing custom coilover side-by-side. Let's see, as Tommy, the Rumble's stripping that first zone, or after initiation is something they're looking pretty hard at. Now, Tommy did get a deeper section into outside zone 3 than Adam did, and arguably a better inside clip, but I would say first and second zone look better by Adam, so that's tough. That's really tough, but the aggression out of Adam is nuts to see after having those hits. Really, really awesome to see anybody bounce back from something like that. And then Tommy just making the best out of a chassis that he really doesn't know. Some E36 on E36 action going on, and you've got, comparable cars, comparable drivers. Tommy Lemaire, as I said before, one of the best to come out of Canada, period. And,
we get it. You're from Canada.
He made mistakes, and now it's time to step up and really push the pressure onto Jeff Jones.
Can you keep it moving? Here we go. That Evil Auto Works Nissan 370Z. He's got the V8 under the hood. He doesn't get all the way out there. Looks like the car grips up, but he does find that second outside zone. Stuke goes in a bit shallow. Jeff Jones, you see a quick little correction, a little twitch of the wheel. In that last inside clip, Stuke dives in. So it looks like, as far as a dance, if there's a dance competition, they just were kind of stepping on each other's toes, or not so much. So they weren't really vibing. They weren't kind of in the same flow of it all. Jeff Jones, like I said, he started out, watch, he doesn't get all the way to outside zone 1, but he does dial it in for 2.
Yeah, the initiation kind of took a second. There's a bit of a delay once the movement started. You can see the adjustment there. Stuke starts to try and push the pressure in, but not able to really catch things up until the outside zone 3. And you can see by looking at the front wheel of Jeff Jones some of the corrections that are being made. Overall, a pretty good run, but you can see those corrections being made. Whereas Stuke, it took him a minute to really get into the fight. Right here, he has to take a tighter line, gets back on the throttle and isn't able to close the gap, pulls back to the transition. Now he needs to get the pressure in. And by the third outside zone, he is able to get back in the fight and kind of make the last half of the run worth it. But is it too little too late? We won't know until we swap things around, and Stuke will be in the lead and Jeff Jones will be chasing behind.
Taking a look here at TLO, Tommy Lemaire. Now, here's a one more time. He is going against Adam LZ again. Unarguably one of the most popular drivers in Formula Drift, Adam LZ. He brings all of his content creation, everything he's done just over the years, from 2 wheels BMX, moving on to 4 wheels, and his fleet of cars is really hard to beat. And here he is again competing in Formula Drift. It's great to have him back. Here we go. Daniel Stuke, M-Spec, S-Chassis, Jeff Jones in the chase. Let's see what Stuke. Boom! Right there. Jeff Jones comes up short again. That Evil Auto Works car. Coming us from the IE, that M-Spec Performance S-Chassis. This is back to where he was last night. Jeff, you can see that big drift energy just come down a little bit, medium drift energy. He runs over that inside clip. Hey, thank you to our track workers, by the way. Awesome. Yeah. Cal Club, amazing. Thank you to Cal Club, all the folks out there in the white outfits working it. Thank you to the Cal Club for keeping our tracks safe and keeping it tidy. Let's take a look at it. Run it back.
Yeah, Stuke's run looked a lot more fluid than what we saw from Jeff Jones, although it did need a few spots to be able to clean up. So really good line out there to the first outside zone. Nice smooth floating transition to the second. Bit of a correction, bit of a shimmy there to get to the third. Jeff does a good job of getting the pocket at that point. Pushes things pretty well through the touch and go. Actually looks like he even touched the touch and go through that section. Had to check the car up a little bit and then Jeff able to get back around. So keeping an eye on Jeff through this. He does a fairly good job for the first inside clip. Back a little bit on the second. Reels things in for the third. Holds it in spot, a little bit of a wavering, and doesn't really get the timing right through that touch and go. So I think what this is going to kind of come down to is the series of mistakes that were made by both drivers and who more or less didn't make as many. Both runs were really good. It's just now we're at the point of having to nitpick and get into these fine details. Everybody got their zones where they needed to. I think, Stuke had a bit more fluidity through his run, whereas Jeff might have been able to get some of the zones a little bit better. And then when we talk about the chase, both of them took a little bit of time to really get into the pocket. So tough to say. I'm happy with the progression of Stuke, happy with seeing Jeff Jones back here and having fun, and rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Best 2 out of 3. Okay, 1 and 1. Oh, there it is. So according to that, Stuke won. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's as good as FIA rules right there.
I mean, some days it feels like that.
Here we go, Jeff Jones, Daniel Stuke, slide him left for Jones. One for Stuke. Daniel Stuke gets the win. So Rami Nishida signing with Jones. And I'm so proud to call the action alongside you and just for the world. And these are like children, man. I love it. Meaning I've seen them grow up and ready to see them party. Here we go. Adam LZ and TLO, Tommy Lemaire, a lot of letters, but what it equates to is OMT one more time. Adam LZ goes all the way out there. Really good posture. The poise of the Drift HQ BMW on the BC Racing suspension. Dials it on that last outside zone 3. Whoa! He sheds that back wing. He says, all right, you cut weight, I'm gonna cut weight too. Wow, look at that. Looks like he popped open that trunk like a bottle of Neft vodka. Just cracked that thing right open. The Garagistic BMW. We are finding out from Lorette that he did change a tie rod. Talk about Tommy.
So Adam's line here is really good. Just barely touches that the rumble strip through our initiation point. Does a really good job through all of the zones, but I like how long he's able to hold the car out there. Now, the only thing is his transition was just like, I mean, we're talking 100th too late, and does catch that bumper pretty hard on the touch and go. A little bit of a hesitation at the very, very end of the third outside zone, but really, really like the line of Adam LZ through that entire section. Tommy, once again, I mean, all the admiration I can give him for driving a car that he's never driven before and competing at this level. To go one more time with Adam LZ, was ranked 5th last year and still hold his own. Tommy Lemaire, this looks like party mode. This looks like two buddies battling it out in their beater cars, just going at it, and that ultimately can lead to some of the best drifting you're going to watch.
Absolutely, I think it's really, really fun. Adam, you know, he does not have the mechanical sympathy. He just goes for it. So much so, you know, last year he was going to do a partial season. He had great. He finished 5th overall, the highest, as you say, highest finishing quote-unquote American driver, respectfully as far as full on, you know, but we'll see what he does this season. He wasn't going to do all season, built a new car, amazing. So here we go, Tommy Lemaire, the Garagistic BMW, but again, backup car to his Corvette, and Tommy looks really good. I got to think Adam LZ, look at him, oh, he put it right back to the wall. Adam LZ is, you know, once you back off and kind of give it 90%, that's where the mistakes are made, because a lot of it's muscle memory. You got to push. You got to kind of push that lead driver around sometimes, showing that dominance. TLO a lot more confidently. He says, let's go again.
Yeah.
Look at Tommy. That he's saying, wind it up. Let's run it back. Wind him up and send him.
Yeah, Tommy had a really good lead run here, and it does open the door for the chase that we see from Adam LZ. So the initiation from Tommy a little bit hesitant, but then able to get things back out in. And yeah, Adam almost throwing more angle, using the third outside zone as a bit of a bumper to get it back into grip and push the car forward. He does a really good job through this section. So Tommy, bit of that hesitation, as I said, gets back in the throttle here to slingshot out to the second outside zone. Adam on the inside of it as we push out to 3. Adam going wide, uses the wall bump to get back into grip and get the car pushed out to that touch and go, and is able to just hold the door of Tommy Lemaire all the way around our inside clip and across the line. So, whew, that was a party run. That was very like party run is how that felt.
Yeah, you keep saying that, dude. Where's the hats? Where's the, you know, the candles? Where's the fireworks?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was good.
Where's the cake?
Where's the cake? Where's the party cake?
Yeah, dude.
Nah, that was
like
good.
Like a fat kid loves cake is the rap quote, right? I like cake. You like cake?
I do like cake.
I know you don't love. You love cake, but you don't like eating it.
I mean, I like enjoying it. I don't like what it does to my thighs.
Hey, thick thighs save lives. That's what the kids say.
I'm not a kid anymore.
Nah.
All right.
Don't grow up. It's a trap.
I know. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this side by side. So, looking at the leads to start, I mean, both drivers look really fluid, but it does look like Adam's chase through a lot of this is much, much closer. Where things shake up a little bit is Adam's touch and go is a little bit more than a touch, more of a slap and go through that section. Does kind of affect his line. Tommy wasn't really in the pocket during that. I don't think it affected him too much, but kudos to both drivers on that, because, man, that was sick. That was really, really cool. When you get, you know, you get the same chassis, you got 2 different power plants there, it always leads to really good driving because the dynamics are the same. The way the car handles is going to be very similar. So it allows for a really, really good chase pretty much no matter what. So let's see what the judges say as we get them popped up.
Slide him left for Adam LZ, right for TLO, and Adam LZ going against second overall last year and multiple times. Odie Boxes, he is focused, he's dialed. Here comes Odie Boxes out front, that field suspension, S chassis, and there goes Daigo Saito, straightens up, and Odie Boxes completes the entirety of this. This is unfortunately, Daigo Saito will have to crawl through, and there's Odie. I mean, I saw the bracket last night, and I said, Daigo, welcome back, but good luck, man. I'll tell you, Odie is, there's so many things in Odie's camp that are saying a lot of eyeballs in him. He's in the camp of Ryan Turk, Matt Field, Odie Boxes. Those are three drivers that I think have the makings and the, on paper, the car, the build, and obviously I'm not discrediting anybody, but
no,
but historically, you can tell the future by looking at the past. And Odie is that guy that has been the bridesmaid, never the bride. We said it, we'll say it again. Here watches on his teammate. But Odie, a lot of eyeballs on him. He is not campaigning in a pro spec car. He's not running a car for another person like Simon Olsson last year. This is his year.
Yeah.
This is his year to strike gold. Pressure, diamonds, whatever you want to use. Carbon fiber, the carbon Kevlar weave. He is made for it, man.
Yeah, Odie Boxes is he's a legend in the making. This is a driver, 302 matches in his career in FD with a 68% win rate.
Dude.
That is up there. That is in the upper echelons of all of them. So we are waiting to hear what all is happening coming out of the Jerry Yang camp. And we're not hearing great things, unfortunately. I think you're going to have to wait for the official call to come across. But, yeah, toe is not a good sign.
Mm-mm.
It's not a good sign.
Love the Bathing Ape livery. The Bape livery looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
What's this? Apes together strong. That's cool. Jerry Yang and his camp. We know what the Yang camp is capable of. They're very talented. They built some amazing cars. You know, Hiro, Kazuya, he's hung up his hat, you know, driving an FD. Daigo, welcome back, but this is not what you want. You wonder what happened.
And for the new fans out there, if you don't know the legacy that is Daigo Saito, somebody who came in 2012, absolutely dominated. You know, he's got 6 wins, 9 podiums in 26 events. Mm-hmm. Crazy set of stats. He was actually 3rd in Long Beach in his first season in 2012.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he's out.
He's out.
Absolutely out. No competition time out for Daigo Saito. Welcome back, but we'll see him in Atlanta as Odie Boxes will advance on and makes quick work. Just listen to the symphony of the V8 supercharged. That car, that driver, that recipe is going to be, quote me on this, he's going to be one to watch this season. He's had just these unfortunate events mid-season, late in the season. He's won here before, Odie Boxes. Can he put it together for a whole entire season? It begins here. I'm telling you, he's, you know, formulaic. He's got, you know, spotter of the year in his corner. His wife Amy, who's very intelligent. She's a scholar. She obviously wants the best.
He feels like this is the best his program's ever been. He's got a lot of confidence in it.
Well, he's going against Mr. Cool, the pride of Paducah, Mr. Jonathan Hurst. Cash Racing comes into view. Castro, he's sucked in right there. So Cash comes up a bit short. Excuse me, Hurst. I was going to call him Cash Racing. Look at this, Castro. Good proximity, not mimicking the angle, but look at this, the aggressive nature that Castro has. I talked to him that Type S Nightlights the other night. I said, dude, love the livery.
Yeah.
The black infusion, I think, is something that metaphorically is something he needs. He needs to kind of harness that anger.
Yeah, he does, and we see that in the chase here. Now, Jonathan Hurst getting on the rumble strips, which does mean that he goes a bit shallow through the first outside zone, but does a good job, doesn't panic, and is able to make outside zone 2 and 3 look good. But look at Castro with a great proximity. Oh, an amazing dive for that touch and go. Oh, so well timed from Castro. It's been a little bit, but I need to remind you that he has had some of the most insane chase runs we've seen in FD history in Jonathan Castro. Hurst does not panic when he makes that mistake, able to get through the rest of the run, makes the correction without making it obvious. You know, you might even forget that he missed that part of the zone because of how good the rest of the run looks. Castro, though, right there the whole time. I would like to see him mirror a little bit more than the proximity that we're seeing, but it's there. He's got the ability, he's got the timing. Now, once they swap it around, can Hurst keep up with the new speed that we're seeing out of Jonathan Castro?
Yeah, the refinement there is really what's going to just have that X factor. Also, for those in the building, if you have an umbrella, please be respectful of your fellow Formula Drift fans to not impede on their view. So again, if you have an umbrella, be respectful, ask, apologize, ask for graciousness, please. Do not impede on the view of your fellow Formula Drift fans. Thank you. Here we go, Jonathan Castro out front. The Metal Dom Toyota GR86 comes into view. Boom, he works it all the way out there. Jonathan Hurst had to back off a little bit. In that Cadillac, Hurst comes up now, excuse me, Castro comes up short, and Hurst, that allows him to get right there. The Mr. Cool Cadillac, love the car, love his personality. The Pride of Paducah took one of the hardest hits here in Long Beach. He broke a foot, broke his, and then just got right back out there. And he's great, man. Just great energy from him, both the drivers. But you can see, look at that, taking home the clipping point as a souvenir.
So let's see our initiation there from Castro. Long brake pull, but is able to get into the first outside zone. You can see just how aggressive Hurst is. And from our other view, you could see that Castro wasn't super deep through the second or third outside zone. And Cash does a good job of making those corrections, although the inside clip was, definitely he ran a real inside line of that, and that's why we see it as our drone pilot getting real risky with some of these dives now. As we see through this transition, Hurst does a really good job of getting in the pocket, bathing in the smoke, but Castro not able to get out. I do like that Jonathan was able to adapt, able to keep that line, has to check up pretty hard through that section, but does keep the car in drift. So to me, I do think that Hurst had a better lead run, but Castro did have an amazing chase in that. And then Castro, his lead run was lacking just a little bit, but Hurst, wasn't perfect through it either. So it's going to be a tough call.
Slide him left for Cast, and there it is, left for Hurst. Kind of crazy. I've never, I wouldn't have anticipated that. Yeah. Also, check out the Lean Customs pins. They just dropped the KB43 for KB Forever. 4-3 day was the other day, and we're celebrating the entirety of the weekend. Here we go, Matt, the beast of the Bayfield. He initiates in that first outside zone. Boom goes the dynamite. Rudy Hansen shortens up a little bit, doesn't get to that first outside zone. Matfield doesn't get all the way to outside zone 3, but look at the smoothness Matfield has. Rudy Hansen chops it up. He takes out that inside clip. So, again, a little bit of an arm wrestling match here. Unfortunately, Rudy Hansen just outpowered by the Corvette. This is, like I said, we just saw Odie run. Odie, Matt, Turk, a lot of eyeballs on them.
Yeah, there is a lot of speed coming out of that Corvette right now, and you can see that Matt having to make some corrections actually to work with it. Tons of angle there, and even into outside zone 3, you can see he's got a left foot brake, even grabs a bit of e-brake through, I believe it's the second outside zone, and Rudy just doing what he can to keep up. Now, listen, getting across the finish line first is not the name of the game when it comes to drifting, but there is something to be said about having the speed. You don't want to go so fast that you're basically cutting out the line, not filling the zones. And we are seeing that Matt is able to wrangle it in, although it would be nice to not see the corrections that have to fill those zones. We want a nice balance where he's able to flow through all of it. Rudy Hansen doing a really, really good job, though, of trying to get into it, trying to find his way in without making it look desperate. It's tough, though. Matt Field's car is so fast.
This is where, Matt's road to a championship or to his success has been very comparable to a Vaughn Gittin Jr., who is a two-time champ. Here's Matt going for his first, and when it really came together for Vaughn, it was when he didn't beat himself. I would say that Matt's worst enemy is himself. He's really harnessed that energy, and I know he's taken some mental coaching as well as physical. I talking to him the other night at Pike Bar, having some drinks and talking to him. He says, dude, you need to work out. Like, you just see him. Like,
he loves
he's
it.
doing all the things to sharpen the sword, and now he just really needs to put that sword, against his competition, but again, notably himself. Seems like he's hard on himself, but equally he's finding self-love. And with all of that journey, I think he has the making to really put it together. But if we backtrack to a few years ago, when he was going for a championship, and unfortunately he spun, and that was that wet Irwindale round. That's where it really oh, you feel for him, man. But I'll tell you what, Matt wins before he shows up. He's got a great attitude. He's got Scarps in his corner. He's got a very supportive family, wife, dog. You know, he's living a great life. He wins before he shows up. The C8 Corvette, working on some great projects, a new drift cave. Yeah. Sorry, I'm doting on Matt Field because we know he's got it. Rudy Hansen, love him as well, but right now, a lot of eyes on Matt Field.
Yeah, Matt Field, I mean, we've said before, like a championship in the making, and he's just come so close so many times. And, you know, with this sport, the consistency, the aggression, and there's always that touch of luck, and that's been the last thing that he's needed to stand on the top of the step, you know, at the end of the season, and that's the only thing that he's got left to do is win that championship. And he's got such an amazing career. He's driven all over the world. He's built some incredible cars and been at the forefront of development in a lot of ways. This is the last thing for him. And for Rudy Hansen, it's getting his feet under him, understanding just how fast pro is, and it takes a while. Coming up from pro spec, it's not going to be a 1 or a 2 year thing. It's going to take some time. And Rudy Hansen, it's every lap. He's just trying to get a little bit better. You know, if it's win the zone, win the corner, whatever, that's where he's at in his program. But I have no doubts that we'll be having a very similar conversation about Rudy's career in a few years as we are with Matt's career.
And his wife as well.
Yeah. I mean, Shelly coming up. I'm very excited to see what she does in pro spec. People are not ready for her.
She's a designer. She's a livery guy. She's a spitball, man. She's a fireball. Here we go. And here we go with Rudy Hansen out front. Matt Field. Look at that. So Rudy, he is blazing a trail there. You saw him transition under the bridge. Good execution. You see Matt Field don't really, you know, it looks like he's scrappy, man. He is really trying to hang in there with Hansen, but Hansen is just that ball of energy. You see him kind of move around, and Matt really has to adapt to it, just a scrappy style. If you're a fan of like MMA, Rudy has this kind of like Nate Diaz style where you just don't know where it's coming from next.
Yeah, and I mean, Rudy's got the speed in the car right now, but he needs to get more or less the depth. He needs to get into those zones and push the car a little bit wider and really float the car out. The car seems tight. And what I really like to see, though, is that Matt Field understands where Rudy's at in his driving career and is able to adapt to that. He's not pushing too hard. He's giving Rudy a little bit of space and then reeling him in throughout the corners. Let Rudy make the first move, then make your adjustment. You see that with the initiation. Let Rudy get to angle, then Matt follows in with angle. Okay, let Rudy get out to the first outside zone, see what his pace is like, then Matt makes the dive into the second one. He almost gives up the first outside zone on Rudy Hansen to understand what Rudy's going to do, and then is able to strike at that point. Let him make the first swing. Matt, very much a counter-striking movement in that chase run, but to me, that was the smart play.
And there we can see our Matt Field fans cheering him on. They're pulling for him. We'll see if he gets the victory. And it kind of was leaning that way, but the judge's verdict is and slide him left for Matt Field or right for Rudy Hansen. And it looks like 1 and a 2, and it is unanimous. Here, just laser vision.
Hawkeyes.
Good old Hawkeye. Okay, there. Yeah, easy there. Pump brakes. All right, here we go. We got Mr. Drift Wizard. Let's see what kind of sorcery we got cooked up here. Tumble and Troil, boil and bubble. Let's go down to Long Beach. Drops in, and he drops the staff on Brandon Sorenson. But Brandon Sorenson, unflappable, brings it in, repping the 702 Las Vegas with a 513 on the roof. High flying Brandon Sorenson. That was good. That was really good. Andy Hateley, you know, good effort. Had some mistakes in that chase. Decent, but look at Sorenson. Where'd he go, dude? I mean, the Drift Wizard cast some sorcery.
I think so. I think he teleported them out of the car.
This was, dude, I don't understand. This is some devil's stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, Andy, good line there. Not getting onto those rumble strips like the judges said. Unfortunately, gets into the wall a little bit and ends up bouncing back and tapping the front end of Brandon, who stays in it, stays with it. Andy adding in that little bit of extra angle, but comes up shallow through the touch and go. Needed to have that angle coming through the third outside zone and not trying to add it in a little bit later on. I really like the development of both of these drivers. Brandon, from years past, would get a little bit too aggressive, fight a little bit too hard, and now as he's aged and matured, has realized sometimes you have to drive the car at 9/10. Depending on who you're battling, you don't have to go all in on it. Makes the, adds the exclamation point at the end, really rubbing doors that come across the line. Love to see that from Brandon, but not overly aggressive through the entire run. Just nice and smooth.
Clean. Keep it
Very
tidy.
clean.
Keep it right. It's like he folded the pillow and before he left. Here we go. Brandon Sorenson. There it is. Finishing top 3 overall last year. He's going against Connor O'Sullivan. Welcome to Formula Drift Pro O'Sully with that United States Army BMW, the Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota Supra. Woo, just a little smooch of the touche right there on the wall in that third outside zone. Look at O'Sully. He knows who he's going against. This is, and some contact was made. So I'll tell you, the wide arches, that thick rear end of that Toyota Supra, that Mark V, you saw again, just a good little smooch of the touche out there, out back on that outside zone 1. And this is, like I said earlier with Ryan Litteral, he knew what to expect, and that's what you know going against Aasbo as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Connor O'Sullivan in this case as well, this is his pro spec car. He's down to only 700 horsepower right now, so he's got an uphill battle, but you know that Frederick Aasbo is going to run an absolutely incredible lead line, and that's what we see here. Aasbo, where I think the judges might start to look at this is, should he have been back on throttle to that point? We'll get to that in a little bit, but Freddie out front looking absolutely dialed. I would have liked to see a slightly deeper in second outside zone, but that's pretty much my only point there. We could have a conversation about should Freddie have been back on throttle at that point, but he has a really, really good arc through there. I think he's safe, but we're really going to have to dive into that one if we need to determine fault a little bit later on. But Connor O'Sullivan, great chase, especially being down on horsepower, representing the U.S. Army, celebrating their 250th birthday. That's pretty epic, and what a great collaboration.
A lot of candles.
Yeah, that's a lot of candles. I mean,
well, again, thank you to United States Air Force is our one of our major sponsors, so thank you for their support. But of course, thank you to all the military, active and past, as well as those that are getting sworn in. So, all right, thank you so much to all the active military. Here we go, the United States Army, BMW. That of O'Sully goes in, and he gets out there now. Frederick Aasbo, he comes up short, but he comes back. Look at O'Sullivan. He gets an outside zone 3. Look at this. O'Sully twisting the screws on a 3-time champion of Frederick Aasbo. O'Sullivan says, yeah, I might be a rookie, but I'm not a rookie to this game.
No. O'Sully has one of the fastest come-ups we've seen in the sport. His ability, like what he's been able to do in such a short period of time and run through all these different competitions, run through pro spec, now into pro. Look at that initiation. Was a little bit shallow through that section. Just shouldn't have been on the rumble strips, but everything else about this run, man, little micro corrections to it, adds a little bit more angle through there. Freddie has to back out into that transition. But dang, Connor O'Sullivan, I mean, coming out of the gate in this car, like I said, down on horsepower, absolutely crushing. You would have no idea that he is sub 1,000 horsepower with that run on a bigger tire than he's ever run before. Frederick Aasbo playing things safe though, understanding that he's probably had a bit of an advantage with the collision before, not an inactive chase. I think if that collision wouldn't have happened, we would have seen Freddie on the door of O'Sully all the way through. But Freddie, I mean, he's one of the greats of all time.
Unarguably.
Yeah, he's for sure.
I mean, all across the globe.
When we get into FD in specific, he has more wins, more event wins than anybody else, more event wins than James Dean. So you can't discredit Frederick Aasbo,
yeah.
3-time champion and just an icon in the sport. And, he knows how to play this correctly.
Yeah,
so.
18 wins overall. It's very impressive. Just that bears repeating. What a weapon. Here we go. Frederick Aasbo, Connor O'Sullivan, and I think the contact is going to unfortunately knock out O'Sullivan, and it does. Little takedown version of this comp car. Great looking livery, little throwback. Love it. Ken Gushi going against Nick Novack in that Ken Tires BMW. Look at Novack. Well, yes, is what he's going to do. Sticks it to the door, Ken Gushi. You hear that? That was awesome. And Ken Gushi, Novack applying the pressure, brings the heat, and Ken Gushi can withstand it. He is, man, he's steaming like a dumpling inside that Toyota GR86, man. That was pretty solid there from both drivers. I mean, that was a great example again. Do your lead run. Expect that chase car right there, and that's what Nick did.
Yeah, Nick does an amazing job of mirroring throughout this run as well. He has to pull a little bit of angle to get back up, but then mirrors it through the rest of this section. A little bit of a door tap there on Ken Gushi, who takes maybe a bit more of a straight line approach to the touch and go than I would have liked to see, but the rest of the run from Gushi, very stable. what I love is that the drivers are making these cars really flowy. They've listened to the judges. They understand the assignment when it comes to this year. And that's what we're seeing is these cars are a lot more flowy. They're going wide. They're adding the angle. Kind of gone are the days of that drag race that we used to see. They've listened to the judges. They're adapting their driving style. They're adapting their cars to it. And I think it really is making for such a better show than we've ever seen.
That's, I'll say, I said it, I'll say it again. This could be, and I'm venturing to say this could be the most competitive Formula Drift season we've ever had. Obviously, the progression of it, kind of like the evolutionary chart, and you kind of start as a little fish, and then you grow up to be a caveman, and then here we are. We're a full-grown man. Let's go. Here we go. Nick Novack, Kenshiro Gushi, the OG, going against Nick Novack. And look at Novack. Woo! The Kenda, Nick Novack is absolutely on a heater. Really good lead run. Ken Gushi, that Creddy Motul Toyota GR86. Novack was on rails. Yeah. That looked like a roller coaster. Disneyland's not too far from here. The happiest place on earth right now is in Nick Novack's ride, man, riding shotgun. That was a solid lead run from Novack.
Yeah, really early initiation, gets on the throttle, does a good job to push out to the first outside zone. Second outside zone, he's on throttle all the way through. You can see that smoke stream all the way for Nick Novack. Adding angle, coming out of the third, lines him up great for that touch and go, and then able to catch the car. It's such a tough thing to do out of that transition. You've really got to get the car set up well because you can only scrub so much speed based on the setup of the car, and Nick's team has got that thing dialed. It's fast in a straight line. It scrubs speeds really well when he gets it sideways. Nick's on fire, and Ken Gushi, I mean, really, really good job there on the chase. We get to our BC Racing side by side. I knew this was coming because I want to see, is there any hiccups, major hiccups from any of these drivers? Because Ken put on a great lead run, which did lead to that amazing chase from Nick Novack. Nick, very fast, very fluid throughout the thing, throughout that run. But could Ken keep up? And that's really what the question comes down to is, as we combine the efforts of both the lead and the chase, if you would combine all those, points, if you will, how does that work out? How does that compare as we see Dmitry Brutskiy there? Always a fan favorite, always, just a great stand-up gentleman, taking some time with the fans. We come down to our judge's decision, and we see Ken Gushi taking the win.
That. Ken Gushi after a great lead run by right. You found that out. Thank you for the communique there, Jacob. But let's go to the competition now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Shanahan is 100%. But he's going against Turk, which is definitely on it. Here we go. That hot half of that squat down. Gets all the way out there. Outside zone 1. Boom, outside zone 2. Shanahan shaking that third as the Irish driver, the Formula Drift Pro rookie for this season, but no rookie to drifting. Boom, pops around that last inside clip. Well done by Turk and Shanahan. Welcome to Formula Drift, baby.
One of the biggest things you're going to see out of any Irish drifter or anybody who's spent time in the Irish drifting series is their ability to tuck into the pocket on transition. That is something that is just grained into them. So watch that from Jack Shanahan. Turk, though, just sporting as always. He is so good at this track. And now look at Jack Shanahan taking that inside line, mirroring it, and it's this transition right here where Jack times it so well and doesn't overshoot it, doesn't get into the side of Ryan Turk. And it's such a great way to end that run for Jack Shanahan, who really holds the time there. Turk does a good job, lights off the tires, really smooth through 1, really smooth through 2. Jack now getting in, almost setting things up, and you'll see he'll push in and waits for Turk's car to come across, able to dive into the pocket through that touch and go and into that inside clip. So the transitions are always going to be good coming out of European drivers, but out of Ireland specifically, they just developed that. And Turk looking so good, really adapting to those new Kendas.
Yep.
When you come off another tire you've driven on for so long, you have to, and the tires are so different between Nitto and Kenda. This is really cool to see how he's able to adapt and what he's able to do with it. So, big fan.
Yeah, new livery, new look, new tires, refined. Also, FYI, he's got some insight consulting for him. Chelsea Denofa, former champ. So he's got him in his corner. He's got him in his ear. Here we go. Or not in his ear. He's not spotting for him. He's giving some setup. Here we go. Shanahan, Jack, not Connor. Welcome to FD. And look at that. Turk dials it back. He goes to the middle of the track. Shanahan gets all the way outside zone 3, taps that wall. Ryan Turk transitions in that last inside clip, and Shanahan brings it around. I'll tell you what, we are going to go to a side-by-side.
Yeah,
BC Racing go for gold. Fun fact, Connor Shanahan, when he entered Formula Jet Pro competition, who did he go against? Ryan Turk.
Oh, no way.
His brother, Jack Shanahan, welcome to Formula Jet, go against Ryan Turk.
So let's see, you can see the aggression out of Jack Shanahan right away. Now there's a little bit of hopping right there as he gets on the throttle, comes off the e-brake, but holds that first outside zone really well. Turk now has to dive in after the second, but look at how Jack is able to hold the line, keep it consistent, has that wall taps, went just a bit deep. Ryan Turk, a little bit safer than what I'd want him to be in that run. I get it though. I mean, there's not a lot of notes on Jack Shanahan when it comes to an FD track, this layout, the car. So you do have to play it a little bit safe, but going back and watching old Shanahan runs, this is quintessential Jack. He is aggressive. He will throw that car into the wall. He has zero mechanical sympathy. He is known as an incredibly aggressive driver, and we see that here. I mean, this is top 32. This dude's trying to take out every corner of that car right off the hop.
Ain't that the truth? And wow, look at this. Here we go. BC Racing side by side. It looks like Turk leading on the left and Shanahan leading on the right. Walk us through it.
Yeah, Shanahan, I mean, goes nowhere near that inside rumble strip that the judges are really harsh on. That was, I mean, it was actually the difference with the Ken Gushi battle. They don't want you cutting the line there at all. And Jack really opens things up to give Ryan Turk the advantage to be able to come into the pocket there. That may be what it ends up coming down to. Really tough battle though. Both of them had great lead runs. Both of them could have cleaned up some things in the chase, but I've chatted with the judges a few times. That initiation, they don't want those drivers anywhere near that rumble strip on the inside. Turn 9, if you go from the road course, but they want them really, really wide. So
wow.
I think we need another side-by-side.
And this is, I'll tell you, welcome Jack Shanahan, but this is not favoring Ryan Turk right here as they're analyzing this because, you know, on paper, Jack, new car, new track. Turk's been here before. We've seen success. We've seen some amazing driving from Turk, but this is not just boom, the needle's going one way.
No.
This is up in the air, and you know, we know how good a driver Shanahan is, and he's twisting the screws on Ryan Turk, that Rain-X Toyota Corolla. And I think they're going to go one more time, back at it. And Ben Hobson, Simon Olsson finished second here last year. Very different car. Let's see how he does. Back behind the wheel of that Mark V Super. He's going against Ben Hobson, who was looking on it yesterday in seating bracket. Simon Olsson goes in transition to that second outside zone. Ben Hobson has to back off. Doesn't look like Simon got all the way out to outside zone 2. Hobson, a little later on that transition, a touch and go. He does not get over. That won't impede his score too much, or won't affect, excuse me. But good driving by Simon Olsson. I think it left a little bit of window opportunity for refinement on that second outside zone under the bridge.
Yeah, I like that Simon's getting the aggression out. He's back in his chassis. He did struggle in it previously, but he's still making improvements all the way through practice. What he needs, though, is one more foot of depth pretty much across the board. He needs to forget about the bills on this car. He needs to get it into the wall, and that's the only thing that he needs to do. Everything else looks good. The line looks good. The aggression looks good. Now, Ben Hobson in the chase, he's on it, man. He really is. People forget this dude pulled a 100-point gap in his final Pro Spec year. He dominated in Pro Spec. He can do it. He has everything to do it, and we're starting to see that now. Now, he did play this a little bit safer, but same thing. You see a driver come off the wall a little bit more, you know that they're going to start picking up speed. You have to be able to adapt to that. That's what we saw from Ben. And the smarts and the wisdom that comes with time in a chassis is now starting to show when it comes to Ben Hobson. The fear's gone. He has no more fear of this car.
What do you think about that, applying that theology to Simon Olsson? Having driven the S chassis, I think he rose to the occasion, he gained some confidence, but now he goes back behind the wheel of the Supra. What do you think?
I think it's going to take a little bit to come back from it. Very different engine platform. You know, we're coming from a supercharged
different power
V8.
band,
everything
build,
is different about
response.
it. But he does drive basically the sister car of this back in Norway, so he can put in the time. They built those cars side by side. So.
All right, Ben Hobson now has got the clean air, beautiful looking Pennzoil Mustang RTR Spec 5FD. He's on no tires. He was banging walls yesterday, and he does it again. The disco round and round. Simon Olsson gets disrupted. Simon Olsson gets thrown off by Ben Hobson. into that first outside zone. Simon, Kenda tires, that Toyota Supra Mark V. He's running his own team this year. And there is Hobson. He backed that back left corner in.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard it. Dumps like a truck. What?
Yeah.
Hobson, move your butt. What?
So the initiation here is great. I love how much of the course he uses, how much he slings that car in. It's nice and wide. Just touches the rumble strip a little bit, but does go pretty hard in the first outside zone. And that does mean that Simon's got to make a pretty good correction and not collide in with them. And then as we get through the rest of this zone, I mean, Simon's kind of just playing catch up after that. Now, I think when we look at the next replay, we really have to understand, did that contact with the wall disrupt what Simon was able to do? Simon's lead wasn't amazing, but he did do a decent enough job. And you can see from Ben there, left foot braking, and that left foot might have even been what saved him from really cranking into the wall. And then Simon just has to make a big correction there and isn't really able to regain the line that he needs to get back into the chase, and kind of just panic drives through the rest of it. So is it a cause and effect thing? Simon's on a pretty tight line there, but oh man, this is tough. This is really, really tough.
How much of that wall tap does that affect Simon? Because looking at that, I don't know if Simon was in the right spot. He kind of didn't have the most deepest angle.
Yeah.
And I think blaringly obvious, Ben went hard into it, but it didn't really disrupt the car too much. And you know, by comparison, bumper hang, the Mustang is a long pier compared to.
Well, I mean, you can see it right
Turk.
there.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got half of a car hanging off the backside of that Mustang.
At the end of the day, did Ben Hobson provide a lead that was easily chaseable by Simon Olsson? In my mind, not really. When you go into the wall like that, how do you chase that? You can't. Ben was pretty tight on the rumble strip as they came through there. Simon was as well. I don't think either of them did a great job in the lead, to be perfectly honest. So I think we need to look at the chase at that point. But yeah, it's really, really tough. So we're showing the replay here again. Simon initiates just at the one. Now Simon's on a really tight line already. Ben pushes out wide. Simon's still on that tight line. It's really hard to say.
I mean, Simon was a little late to launch, so again, we're just having the conversation.
Right.
The facts are the facts. You know, Simon kind of rolled into it, so you know it's basically you know, we saw Ben going. Watch it again. Here goes. No, this is Simon leading. Sorry, this is Simon leading. Ben's in the pocket essentially. He's risking it, and he tucks in.
Yeah.
By comparison with Ben out front, Ben goes in. Yes, he went deep in that wall. Did it adjust the attitude of the car? Maybe a little bit, but not to the degree like if Turk or we saw Daigo yesterday. And also, where was Simon once he hit that wall and did an effect, cause and reaction, or cause and effect as opposed to perceived?
Yeah, that's the big point that we're kind of chatting about up here right now is like, was there an actual effect on Simon or is it just a perceived? And the difference between that is was Simon on the correct line before that happened? And then did Simon have to change something in order to not make contact? And that's really where I feel like the judging decision comes down to.
And here it is. Slide him right for Ben Hobson. Gets the. So you're asking, you know, it's later in the game?
I will say, though, he did get back into drift in outside zone 3 and then more or less lost it going into the touch and go. And I think that's what Reese.
You have to make sure you manage your momentum, and that momentum, the judges deemed it as you lost the momentum, you settled your car, you're out of drift, you're out, and Ben gets the win.
Love it, love it. And again, should have been able to be in drift by then.
Yeah, by the end of outside zone 3, he should be where he needs to be, and then just wasn't. And so it was one of those look over here, but actually the problem was on the other side of the track.
Right, and there's a Pinnacle Series, man. You got to adapt, and that's really what it's all about. So here we go, our final battle, the one more time battle between Jack Shanahan and Ryan Turk. Jack slide into the DMs or FDMs and in competition. Ryan Turk out front, that Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla. Kenda tires, outside zone. Evades the wall, goes in under the bridge, outside zone 2, goes in outside zone 3, brings it in. Jack Shanahan, you see him diving on in. Good fluidity from both the drivers. Shanahan, good composure. Doesn't do anything really like violent, either to the side of Ryan Turk's car as well as Ryan, he did not get involved with the wall. Keep it off the wall.
Yeah.
Don't leave anything question.
Both of them did what they needed to do. They didn't get in their head about it. They just went and drove the track. I mean, Jack, very aggressive off that initiation, has to cut the first outside zone to get back in because of how tight he was to that section, but then does a fairly good job here in the chase. Would like him a little bit closer. As I talked about, you know, that European transition shows its face again at the touch and go. Turk out front, stable. Pretty much a direct carbon copy of what we saw previously. Would like to see him hold that first out to the first outside zone longer, not have to cut the corner at the rumble strip. Keep that, you know, keep the pocket open. We won't go with door, we'll go with pocket. Keep the pocket open, make sure they're able to chase through it. But the rest of the run looks almost identical. Now, what I will say, Jack, in the history of him doing things, you know, looking back in the past, on his lead of a one more time, often goes pretty nuts. I'm not trying to, like, you know, predict anything, but
you're anticipating something a little Shanahan.
Yeah, I'm anticipating a pretty nuts run here. I do expect him to go really wide on initiation, go nowhere near that inside clip and go out to the wall to one, and then just hammer it going into the second.
So would you say he goes Shanahan?
Ooh, yeah, Shanahan wild.
He goes Shanahan.
Yeah.
On his lead run. Anticipation here. So here we go. The Shanahan camp. His brother, obviously Connor, his sophomore season in Formula Drift. Here stateside. Jack out front. Jack in that 59 BMW. Here comes Ryan Turk in the chase position. Goes out to. Very comparable to what Ryan Turk did. Jack really close to that second outside zone. Goes into three. Ryan Turk, good proximity. Doesn't tuck into the pocket as we were talking about earlier. The 4-on-1 on the roof. And the 4-on-1 on what the verdict is.
Man.
Okay.
How much time we got?
You know, I'm not calling you out. Did not go full Shanahan.
No,
that was composure, and yeah, that was right there.
That shows. I mean, that shows a lot of growth as well. That he knows he can't go insane and make a massive mistake here. Consistency is what's going to take down Ryan Turk. But I mean, Jack Shanahan filling all the zones. There's really no major critique here in the lead, and Turk, no major critique in the chase. Like, we're going to go side by side again. We need to see this again. I mean, there's a chance we're going to see this battle go a few times. And honestly, I'm happy that I was wrong. I'm happy that Jack Shanahan has learned that he needs to keep things consistent and not just absolutely demo the car. Now, Jack, in the chase on the left-hand side of the screen, that was the only major mistake I saw from him. It take him a little bit to get back into it. But you could, I mean, in the lead, both these cars are almost identical. Really, it might come down to that one mistake that Jack made on initiation in the chase. That's the only thing I could see outside zone one for Ryan. I mean, the zones are pretty identical. That is literally the only thing I can think of that might be a difference between the two. But it may still go one more time again. I really don't know at this point. But, you know, Jack Shanahan, welcome to FD. Welcome to Pro. I want to speak for the whole community and say we're just super happy to have you.
Really a fun dude. Love his stance. He's very, you know, I have some expectations from the Shanahan camp.
Yeah.
His mom, dad, like I guess they're electric, just like the boys. But had some time with him in Australia, and I liked his composure. You see him. Here we go, the BC Racing side by side, our final battle of our top 32.
Yeah, I mean, so where Jack was overly aggressive on initiation, Ryan was actually a little bit more hesitant on initiation. That's the only thing that I can see. The chases, other than that, are almost identical. The lead runs, almost identical. Yeah, Turk's got a little bit more proximity through the majority of it, but I'll say that Shanahan might have had a better job mirroring the angle, so both of them had some things they need to make up on initiation. It's so tough. This is like a finals level battle we're seeing in top 32. This is one of the most competitive top 32s we've ever seen.
But it is, and that's why I say that. But also, I think it was smart. It wasn't, again, you anticipated Shanahan going full ham sandwich. I think he kind of dialed it back.
It's good.
And that's composure, that's growth, as you say. That's kind of that veteran move. But what do you guys think? Where are my Ryan Turk fans at? Make some noise.
That's pretty good.
Where are my Irish fans for Jack Shanahan? Make some noise. Again, he's a rookie. You know, a lot of these fans have not, you know, they don't know Jack. They might know Connor. I guess that's, they don't know Jack. Great figure of speed. Ryan Turk gets one more time.
One more time.
Two, one more time. So they are going at it again. Justifiable?
Yeah.
Question mark?
No, 100% justifiable. This is going to be who flinches first at this point, who makes a mistake first, because they're on it. But wow.
Hey, real quick, would love to talk. Sorry to cut you off there. Robbie, I believe you went with Ryan Turk. Robbie, was it Robbie? Okay, Robbie, you went with Ryan Turk. What was your justification? The other judges, Brian and Reese, went with one more time.
Yeah, so the total proximity from the start to the beginning, I pretty much saw the lead as the same, and there's a little bit more proximity by Turk, but I was talking to the other judges as well. We were talking about this whole weekend at the drivers' meeting, we did talk about not going over that rumble strip, and that rumble strip, if you're away from the rumble strip, you'll give the chase car You'll give a chase car that's a little bit of space to be able to stick to the lead car in the chase position, and that'll put you in a good position from outside zone 1 to 2. But some of these drivers aren't doing it in the lead position, so I think the other two judges criticized that a little bit more, and they know that overall, there was a little bit more proximity, but it was enough to do it one more time.
Thank you, Robbie, and thank you our other judges. As there we see Robin Ishida, Brian Eggert, Reese Marin, as we look again our BC Racing go for gold side by side.
Yeah, expect that that rumble strip we see after initiation to really be the difference maker a lot this weekend. And that points back to what they talked about of setting up the chase car for a good chase. If you go nice and wide through that section, you don't cut that corner, you really do set up the chase car to do well. So
that both next weekend IndyCar utilizes their pits for IndyCar and multiple different sanction bodies, including us, Friday and Saturday night. Also, tomorrow, Peterson Automotive Museum, Ken Block, KB Day, all weekend. So tomorrow, Peterson Automotive Museum, come out, Jacob, maybe see you there, we'll see. Here we go, Jack Shanahan out front, Ryan Turk in the chase position. Look at Shanahan swinging. Turk, good composure, Shanahan comes into the first outside zone. Ryan Turk, he shallows up quite a bit there now to outside zone 3. Shanahan gets all the way out there. Ryan Turk in the hot pocket. Does not get burned. He brings it around, tightens up into that last inside clip. Bangs that back left to the back right of Shanahan. I mean, here we are. These guys, again, they're at that 95 percentile of what they want to do to their car and what their cars can. I think they're at 85% of what the cars can do, but they don't want to push too hard.
Yeah, and it's crazy how they're just making these adjustments every single run, getting just a little bit better with every run, a little more angle, better line, holding position better. Turk right there throughout the chase, I mean, has to back out for that transition, does a good job, I would say. That transition in particular, Jack did a better job on, but the leads are pretty much comparable. Ryan Turk through outside 1 and outside zone 2 looks really, really good in the chase, but Jack's opening the door throughout the whole thing. Already seeing signs for a side-by-side. I'm not shocked by this. These are two of the best drivers in the game right now that we're getting to see go head-to-head in top 32. And I mean, we're here for a minute, but I'm down to keep seeing them battle, man. This is great driving.
Down to Clown. Look at that, Jack outside of the car. Turk chilling. Yeah. You like Diggs? Here we go. What's up, Dig?
So let's see this first line. Both in pretty comparable. Neither one going over the rumble strips. Looks like Jack was slightly closer to that section. Turk is closer to this section, but Jack's mirroring a little bit better, and then they swap where Jack falls back. Turk is in closer and mirroring better. Man, I don't know. I don't know.
This is where, all of the history, Robbie, former FD driver, Brian Egger, I mean, he's running Drift Appalachia events with Reese. Reese, breaks down the runs, I mean, no? What are you looking at me like that?
I mean, Reese is a championship spotter.
Reese looks back, I mean, championship spotter.
Yeah.
Brian Egger, his knowledge of seeing drifting, I mean, multiple events in a year. Robin Ishida bouncing over to New Zealand, Japan, hung up the FD Japan role, but here he is in the States, former driver. A lot of knowledge. This is where they lean into what they've seen before, and, they've seen a lot of runs. We've seen a lot of runs, but they analyze things to the minutia that sometimes the the armchair expert does not see. And that's where I'm really proud to uphold their verdicts.
Yes.
And some people might not agree with it. Either their loyalty falls in a different camp, or they might not see something that you see. So Reese, Brian, Vernon, Robbie, all of them. Here we go. Slide him left for Turk or right for Shanahan. After 2-3 battles, Ryan Turk gets the win. Want to talk to one of the judges. They're still talking right now, but would love for you to elaborate. Not once, not two, but 3 times. There's Shanahan. Welcome to FD. You're on the FD Club, Shanahan. Hold your head high. Reese Marin, going to you again. Ryan Turk gets the win, advances on 16 after 1-2, and now a third battle.
Yeah, this was a very, very intense battle here, and yeah, we were just speaking. I was just speaking to the rest of the judges, and I'll give you a little bit on my perspective here. I think Turk had just a little bit better proximity when it came to certain points, just a little bit. The deciding factor for me was in the lead that were very pretty similar. In outside zone 3, I feel like Turk had a bit more angle, staying sideways and staying in there in order to do that. So that in that place, I ended up giving the win to Turk because of that.
Yeah, just collectively, great effort by Shanahan. Good drive by Turk, but we know we're capable of more, but you can't win in 32.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it was definitely intense. Hats off to Jack. That was insane. Yeah, absolutely
good
insane.
driving. Like Jacob said, this is a final battle here.
Yeah, no, that I felt like that was it. You know?
All right, well, guess what? Thank you so much, Reese, Brian, Robbie. We'll have a halftime break, but before that, we throw it down to a couple New Hampshire kids down there. We got Ryan Turk and Lorette Nickel. Lorette, how you doing, hon?
Well, I heard you guys say, I think before the first one more time, that it was like a finals battle between you and Jack. I heard you guys talking about that. Ryan, I mean, what a way to start off Long Beach.
Yeah, I mean, first off, for the people in the U.S. that don't know Jack Shanahan, he's Connor's older brother, and he's been driving a long time. He's a phenomenal top-level pro over in Europe and all over the world. He's a champion as well. So I knew that coming into this top 32, I was like, God damn, this is going to be a battle. Obviously, they got their car working really well, and we both put it all out there, all out there.
Were you making minimal adjustments out there?
Yeah, the first 2 battles, no. It was just like, try to clean up like we're just nitpicking. Clean up maybe a half a foot here, a foot there. I knew on our first one more time, that on my chase, I really had to lay in there really heavily. And I got the transition from 1 to 2 really strong, so that helped my case on that one. And then honestly, my chase wasn't as good on the last one, but I had a little bit better of a lead. And I did what the judges wanted me to do, is stay off the rumble strip on the first turn a little bit, which is what they nitpicked me on the first one more time. So we did that, and I guess it went in my favor. So I'm like, Jesus. Unreal.
Absolutely.
Unreal battle.
Yeah, and we know that you are a fully committed driver. Are you finding it maybe a little challenging to back it down to do exactly what the judges want you to do?
No, we just didn't know we should have done that, so we just needed to change our line. That's it. So we'll hopefully be doing that the rest of the day.
Okay. See you in top 16.
Thank you.
Wrapping it out. Who's that? Who's that hugging him? Oh, yeah. Media Cats. Congratulations. Turk gets the win. 16 set, Jacob. Here we are. We have a halftime break. We're going to grab some food, high fives and handshakes. Here's a look at our 16. Look at this. Dean versus Beechum. Connor Shanahan versus Dylan Hughes. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. Hero Minowa, 15 years old, against a 3-time champ and vet. LZ versus Stuke. Odie versus Castro. Man, those guys got something to prove. Field and Sorenson. Heater. Aasbo and Gushi, Toyota battle. Another Toyota doing battle against the Ford. Ben Hobson. Look at that. Dean and Hobson on other side. Dude, great day.
So good.
I'm exhaling with enthusiasm. Like, whew, we got a long way to go, and it's going to be one heck of a show. Jacob, anything to add before we come back? Or
nah, man, I might just sit here and wait until it starts up again. I don't think I'm going anywhere.
All right. Well, you stay here. I'm going to go party.
Can you bring me lunch?
I'll bring you lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. All joking aside, thank you so much. This is round 1 of 8 of the Formula Jet Pro Championship. It begins on the streets of Long Beach and also announced later on during our United States Air Force opening ceremonies. We have our driver introduction, our Formula Drift Hall of Fame induction, as well as round 8, the final round of the Formula Drift 2025 Championship will be announced in our opening ceremonies. The question is, are you ready? Because I know I am. Without further ado, we will announce it in our opening ceremonies when we come back Tune in later, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the round of 16. United States Air Force opening ceremonies. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Lorette. Thank you to the drivers. Thank you to the fans. We'll be back here. Ryan Sage, co-founder, president of Formula Drift, with the opening ceremonies as well. I'm so excited. Man, the hair standing up on my arms, man. I'm excited. I'm going to go party. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere in just a little bit. Look at this. It's a sold-out crowd. Welcome to the streets of Long Beach. Make some noise for the Drift Nation. This is a year to watch. Enjoy it, the most talented drifters in the world.
He's exploding towards his first outside zone.
Ooh.
Perfect.
Yo, Ryan Turk wants it. It could be anybody that could win here in Long Beach. Explode that back bumper. Send it. Here we go. Laser vision on the prize. Your winner, James the Machine Dean.
I have no words for how much this means to me.
That's a hard act to follow. Wow.
モータースポーツで得た高度な技術をすべてのレイズホイール一本に込める魂は永遠に変わらない。ビヨンド・ザ・レボリューション。The concept is racing.